This trade war stuff is pretty interesting, as some people are saying this is the future that we all deserve. Get to work, as of course our manufacturing base is non-existent because of the Rockefeller, Nixon, globalist plans that now are crescendoing to what a lot of people are calling a World War III-like scenario, as there's a lot of prominent, powerful people out there warning about this, as we have a very interesting article now describing how Donald Trump is allegedly losing World War III. Now, there's a lot of things that are absolutely wrong with this article from The Hill that we're going to be addressing here, but it definitely does look like, to the decree of Ron Paul, who's not liking what's going on here, that we are ever so closer moving forward towards a big war footing right now, as there's some very surprising news in Ukraine that involves the Chinese. What's really going on here? Well, let's delve right into it. As, of course, in October of last year, Jamie Dimon came out and said World War III may have already begun. And this is something that we've been talking about ourselves here when it comes to a lot of the alliances, the proxy conflicts, the resources battle, and, of course, the battles for global hegemony, which looks like is at stake here, especially with the Thucydides trap and emerging world powers now questioning and challenging the United States and the U.S. petrodollar. Now, The Hill has a very interesting article in their opinion national security piece today that says Team Trump is losing World War III. Excuse me, it wasn't from today. It was a couple days ago. But I think this article is still relevant, especially with the latest developments that are now happening in Ukraine, and we'll tell you why in just a little bit here. But they make the argument that Donald Trump isn't just losing against the Russian President Vladimir Putin, but he's also losing by attacking his allies. The article writes, if left unchecked, it could result in the partial or complete destruction of U.S. global economic and military power. I don't think that's really possible here, as Donald Trump also just announced yesterday that he's going to be requesting a record-breaking $1 trillion Pentagon budget. Yeah, that's a lot of money. As a lot of people are saying, is this where all the savings from Deutsche are going now? As Ron Paul has his own criticisms of this, saying, quote, what a shame Trump to pump more money into the very thing that has bankrupted us, the military-industrial complex. Here's what he had to say.
Fighting too many wars and we're spending too much money at home. So what are we going to do about it? We've been telling people they shouldn't do that, but they just aren't listening. Well, we applauded, this new committee, Doge and Musk, and even Trump, and even we praised them. But it doesn't look like it's getting very far.
Yep, as Donald Trump announced this, and this is big news. This is huge here, as it does signal that maybe the Panama deal, maybe the Greenland, maybe the Canada stuff isn't joking around, and maybe he is seeing the writing on the wall and is seeing that, yeah, we got to prepare for a full, all-out global conflict. And it looks like the storm clouds are gathering, and they are becoming very severe here with statements like this that Donald Trump said yesterday.
We have great things happening with our military. We also essentially approved a budget, which is in the facility, you'll like to hear this, of $1 trillion, $1 trillion, and nobody's seen anything like it. We have to build our military, and we're very cost conscious, but the military is something that we have to build, and we have to be strong because you got a lot of bad forces out there now. So we're going to be approving a budget, and I'm proud to say, actually, the biggest one we've ever done for the military.
Now, for me, I think there is an argument to be made for more kind of national defense, but not with the current system we have now that is absolutely bloated, corrupted, and is acting like a leech on the American people, as there have been now multiple reports after reports of fraud, corruption, and abuse. And let's be honest here, Elon Musk and Deutsche Still haven't fully delved into the Pentagon. Still haven't fully delved into the intel agencies and called out a lot of their abuses against the American taxpayer. And there's a lot of them. You think USAID was bad? Wait until you find out about the secret black budgets. Wait until you find out about the chimera and crazy stuff that we've been working at, that I've been hinting at. And I'm like, okay, Elon, Deutsch, come on, let's get at it. Because you're simply rewarding very bad behavior that has been proven to be detrimental to America's interests here. Now, why is Donald Trump launching and wanting to spend so much? Is there something bigger at play here? Is there something developing here? As now there's some people reporting on social media that Trump is allegedly going to be slapping a 104% tariff on China tonight, per the White House, as a lot of people are coming out and saying that this is fake news, that this is not true, and that a lot of these reports are not officially confirmed. I have not seen it confirmed myself, and it definitely does look like the 54% type of tariff is going to be the one that's implemented here in the midst of negotiations with China, which are heating up here, as of course there's very tough rhetoric by the Chinese. There's even tougher rhetoric by Donald Trump, as it looks like we could be engaging in a full all-out trade war with our biggest trading partner that we are reliant on for a lot of very important things like our pharmaceuticals. How is that going to develop? How is that going to be happening? We'll tell you that in just a little bit here, especially with the crazy news about Chinese soldiers being found in Ukraine right now, fighting for the Russians. What's going on here? Well, before we tell you about that, we want to tell you about our No More Drama from Your Mama bundle. Perfect gift for Mother's Day. We made it so it's going to be in a nice package. We're actually putting a nice kind of graphic on it that says Happy Mother's Day to, from. You get to fill in the blank. You get to write in your name. You get to write in your baby mom's name or your mama's name, whatever it is. It's important to take care of women in your society and show them you care by giving them the gift of proper health and making sure that they get to chillax with some magnesium. They get to relax their nervous systems. Make sure that they get to have more exceptional gains in all aspect of mental and physical life with Common Sense Creatine. We also have 2 new products released by Stephanie, our button pusher, that just created a magnesium mist, which is really great. You put it on your feet right before you go to sleep, and a lot of people are reporting that they're feeling a lot better. Magnesium, lots of people deficient in magnesium. Whenever I have any kind of woman in my life, I'm like, okay, let's get you some supplements. Let's get you some magnesium. Let's try to balance out all of the chemical and biological forms of warfare that are waged against women. She also made a Happy Eyes eye roller, which is really good too. So those products, all 4 of those products, the price of it is way too low, by the way. It's $76. We're going to make sure this price goes up. Before the price goes up, get your bundle right now and have a gift. Again, I hate doing shopping for anybody. We just made it easy. We made it simple. It's a nice box. You order it right now. It comes to you. Hey, Mom. Hey, baby mama. Happy Mother's Day. Boom. Just give them a box. We're going to make it nice. We're going to make it pretty. And this is a collaboration with Stephanie, the button pusher. 2 of her products, 2 of my products. And I think this is definitely a great saving deal that we're going to make sure the price of it goes up the closer we get to Mother's Day. But get it now, and then you don't have to worry about it when Mother's Day comes around here. Now, I don't know if we're in World War III or not, but we're definitely in a full-on economic war that a lot of people have described with this particular video, highlighting what's happening in the markets right now. Yep, I think that's a perfect representation of what's happening right now, as CNN is even trying to figure out what's going on here, and they really don't know.
The reciprocal tariff. China has this 34% tariff. There were already 20% tariffs in place on China. So is that 34% on top of that, meaning it's a 54% reciprocal tariff on China?
I believe it is.
Okay. And so when you look at the reciprocal tariff, China.
That's going to be a major deal, as both parties here look like they are not backing down. How will all of this kind of unfold here, as it looks like the United States definitely is changing their geopolitical footing, as the previous administration was aiding and abetting China to have a bigger sphere of influence on the world stage. This administration looks like it's partly fighting back against it, as the FBI director just announced that he is going to be investigating and trying to, quote, root out Chinese influence on U.S. soil. There's also some serious consideration and moves being made by some states in order to get rid of Chinese bought land here in the United States of America, as Zelensky just announced that he and his military have captured 2 Chinese soldiers on Ukrainian territories that have documents and credit cards linking them to China. Yes, as Zelensky says, he believes that the United States needs to pay more attention to, quote, what is happening here. Let me play you a bit of this clip here, and I'm going to be telling you what Zelensky says here. But it seems to me that we have something to talk about to America. America, we believe that we will change their position, especially they will change their position after today's news. We took Chinese soldiers prisoners on the territory of Ukraine, and Ukraine entered the battles in the Donbass region, Tervaska and Belgorod, and out of the 6 Chinese soldiers, 2 are in captivity. And there are documents, they have passports, they even have credit cards. They are Chinese citizens. I think this is a very important element that the United States of America needs to pay more attention to. What is happening here today? And we have to seem to have something to talk about to the Americans, and we believe that we will change their position, especially after today's news. Now, the Ukrainians have always been trying to get the United States more involved in this conflict. The United States is already significantly involved. Donald Trump has continued military aid and assistance and intelligence sharing with the Ukrainians. And this news looks like the Ukrainians are being like, hey, look, you guys aren't only involved in a trade war. We're now involved in a full-on proxy war between China, Russia, Iran versus NATO, the United States, and of course, Ukraine here. There's videos of these guys coming out here, and whether this is some kind of psyop, whether this is some kind of fake news or not, it is significant to note here, especially with the type of response that we're going to be having from all of this, as this is something that we've been warning about, especially with Donald Trump now setting his sights on Iran here, as the conflict is heating up inside of Ukraine. And I told you guys, as soon as the peace deal doesn't work, all hands on deck here. The situation could get very crazy very fast. And I think that's slowly and surely what we're seeing here, as of course there's already North Korean troops fighting on the Russian side. There's Iranian military equipment and drones being utilized by the Russians. The Chinese, they're actually a big trading partner with Ukraine. And their ties with Russia are becoming more and more extensive as they kind of look at each other. Historically, they're usually at odds with each other. The Chinese really want more of that Russian territory. It would seem advantageous for the Chinese to have a kind of vacuum of power in Russia and to have their government collapse there, because they'll be able to get a lot of natural resources like water that they are in very short supply of if that particularly happens. But for the foreseeable future, especially now with the actions made by Donald Trump, it does seem like Russia and China are coming closer and closer together, as Zelensky is now confirming that the Ukrainian troops are still active on Russian territory in the Belgorod region, where they have recently lost a significant amount of territory. Now, the Russians have just announced that they are pushing the last remaining Ukrainians out of their territory, as we have Russian politicians coming out and now predicting that there's just going to be more and more nuclear weapons acquired on the world stage. Why is that important? Well, it's because of what's happening right now with the United States and their involvement in the Middle East, as yesterday's meeting was between them and Benjamin Netanyahu. And we have seen Benjamin Netanyahu, right after his talk with Donald Trump, come out and say that the negotiations are great and that they are going to be moving forward and making sure that Iran does not have a, quote, nuclear weapon, and that they will be following the Libyan model. The last time the Libyan model was brought up, it was brought up by John Bolton when he was still working with Donald Trump, and that comment made sure that there wasn't a lasting peace deal made between the United States and North Korea. It's the talking point that destroyed, that sunk peace negotiations with North Korea. Because what is the Libyan model? The Libyan model is pretty interesting because the Western world went to Libya and said, yeah, you got some chemical weapons. And Libya was like, yeah, we got them. They actually didn't. You got some weapons of mass destruction. Libya was like, yeah, we got them. They weren't that capable. They're like, okay, we'll get rid of all of them. We'll get rid of all these, like, really bad, sinister weapons, but you just promised us peace. And the Western world's like, okay. They got rid of whatever little bit of weapons that they had. And then, of course, the Libyan central leader there, Gaddafi, was shish kebabbed alive on television with Hillary Clinton laughing and cackling as he was literally being tortured on television, left bloodied. And essentially what Netanyahu is kind of hinting at here is that the Iranians are going to lose their weapons and then their government is going to be overthrown and their leaders are going to be shish kebabbed. That's what he means by saying the Libyan model. This is more of a threat than it is actually a statement made to promise, of course, any kind of de-escalation here. As we have some very kind of interesting comments by Dmitry Medvedev, the deputy chair of the Security Council of the Russian government. He was also the previous president of Russia, and he specifically talked about the New START treaty with President Obama and how they were trying to reduce the risk of nuclear war. That right there is something that he is forewarning about as he's talking about a lot of countries now will acquire nuclear weapons. They're becoming more readily available. And he ends his statement saying, we all know how this ends, after his statement specifically describes the kind of escalation of situations that are unfolding right now inside of Europe, inside of the Middle East, and very surely and very quickly, yeah, we could be in a World War III scenario. Is that something that Donald Trump is preparing for right now? And if that's so, that's not good. We should be having peace. We should be having negotiations. We should be having détente. We should be de-escalating situations, not escalating them, especially with how integrated and everyone's involved here. This is like the 1920s all over again. If you look at what happened in Europe during that key specific time period, countries were like, oh, yeah, he's my friend. Oh, that country's my friend. Oh, yeah, we're going to gang up. We're going to fight you. And then all that countries like, yeah, we'll gang up too. And you do see Iran, China, Russia with North Korea creating more of their alliances, creating more of their proxies, creating more of their partnerships that will, of course, be working with each other, protecting each other. And on the other hand, you have the United States trying to whip the European Union into shape, saying, yeah, you guys stop with your welfare state. You guys need to go to a warfare state. And Donald Trump is making some kind of very bold, aggressive actions here that do highlight that we are kind of on the precipice of a bigger conflict that, in my opinion, should be avoided at all costs. Can that be done politically? What do you think? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you thought I was wrong in my analysis, I love your feedback. I love your constructive criticism. Take care of your mamas. Check out the bundle on wearechange.shop. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on youtube.com/wearechange.